lovely people, it's Nicole, and today I want to just kind of make a chatty discussion video about a concept that I've been thinking about a lot. When it comes to ongoing stories, whether that's a TV show, a book series, a movie series, a comic series, whatever, how does the relationship between the fans and the creators and what each side wants from the story work? So what does, if anything, the creator owe the fans, and to what extent is it okay for the fans to say, hey, we want this, can you make this happen? Because on one hand, I have a lot of experience in the fan realm and I completely understand falling in love with a story or the characters or the relationships and wanting it to go a certain way. And I think there's a long history, especially in TV shows, of fans saying, hey, can you make this happen? We really want this to happen. And I think it's a little bit different books versus TV in this sense, because books are typically thought of more as one person's creation. And so I think it's easier for people to kind of understand that this is this one person's art and they're gonna do the story how they see it, how they always envisioned it. And a lot of times authors have talked about how they don't read fan fiction, they don't read fan theories or any of that thing because they don't want to dilute their idea of how the story is gonna go. They don't want to be accused of stealing anything from a fan fiction or any of that. They just want to write their story how they see it. But when it comes to TV, I think because it's a more collaborative process, not to say books aren't collaborative processes, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on other than the actual writing of the book. But TV is a more collaborative process in that the product that we see as fans isn't just one writer, it's usually a team of writers. And then you also have the influence of the directors and the set decorators and the actors and the editors, and all of these people work together to create this show. Also, I think that shows are something that you tend to see more direct influence of the audience. Just the way that things are calculated and measured. You see week to week ratings, you see hashtags going viral and things on Tumblr and all these, you know, fan presence is such a huge part of it. And one of the really big factors that gets considered when it comes to a show's renewal. So the issue comes in, and I've noticed that this happens a lot when it comes to shipping. The issue comes in when the fans want one thing and the people who are creating it want something else. And how do we deal with this? Because what I've heard from a fan perspective, this isn't necessarily what I think, but this is what I hear as a very common sentiment, is the fans are the reason you're here. The fans are the reason that you are still able to make this show. You should be grateful, you should listen to them, you should make the show that they want to see. And while I understand the sentiment behind that, while I understand what people are trying to communicate with that and where that feeling comes from, and I do think that one of the things that is considered when creating a TV show, when writing for these, is what will get people to watch, what will make people interested in the show. You're not gonna write a show that no one's gonna watch. And I do think that it's worth taking into account at the very least, you know, is this decision going to alienate our entire fan base? That being said, I think a lot of people easily forget that TV shows are a storytelling medium. They are a form of art. They're a very collaborative art process, but they're an art form. And the people telling these stories, it's their story that they're telling. And I don't know necessarily if fans really have the right to make demands of the story that they're being told. I've seen fans get vicious over this. I don't want to name drop any fandom names because I don't want people getting angry and defensive in the comments, because I genuinely don't mean this as an attack, but there are fans who have attacked and vandalized the property of people working on these things, who have attacked them online, who have made actual protests in the streets, not because a show or a movie did something necessarily offensive or that was hurtful, just because what they wanted to happen didn't. And I think that's where we need to draw the line. I think it's perfectly fine to say, hey, we want this to happen, but you don't get to throw a fit when it doesn't happen. Because at the end of the day, these stories are something that we have been given. We aren't owed anything. The story could be canceled tomorrow and we just have to live with it. Then another show will rise up and take its place. And I don't want to diminish the meanings that these ships or these stories or these characters have in people's hearts, because I get it. I have been heartbroken when my ship wasn't made canon. I have emotionally connected to characters. I've had these characters and these relationships that have meant so much to me, and some of them have been canon, some of them haven't. There's an attitude I've seen a lot online recently that seems to think that if your ship isn't canon, it isn't valid, that it's not real, which isn't at all true. People are pushing so hard for their ship to be canon that it feels like they're forgetting to stop and smell the roses. Look, I grew up in the Harry Potter fandom shipping Drarry. We all knew that shit was never gonna be canon. That doesn't diminish the fun. That doesn't mean you can't still explore that relationship. And it doesn't mean it's not still a valid and interesting relationship to explore. Heck, I'm pretty sure it's the most popular ship in the entire fandom. And just because it's not canon doesn't mean that your love of it isn't valid. Of course, it's always great to see these ships become canon. It's a lot of fun, and you get to see the thing that you've been hoping for, the thing that you are fascinated by in front of you, and that's great. But at the end of the day, these aren't our stories. They don't belong to us. We are enjoying them and sharing the creations of someone else. I think that the issue when it comes to prioritizing, this is what I want to happen, and if this doesn't happen, then the story writers are wrong. It means that you're then prioritizing a fiction, a story, over real people. And I was just reading a Twitter thread on this. I'll link it in the doobly-doo, but it's about how there's this weird psychological phenomenon that we care so much about these fictional characters that sometimes we prioritize their feelings over the feelings of real people. Fictional characters, as much as they mean to us, and again, I want to be clear, I am not at all invalidating how much fictional characters and relationships can mean to you, but their feelings aren't getting hurt. The real people we're attacking, those are people who are getting hurt. Defending a character or a relationship isn't gonna help those fictional characters because they're fictional. Even if they're real in our heart, they don't care if someone's shit-talking them online. I think as fans, we have a responsibility to respect the art we're appreciating and the people who are creating it. And as much as it may hurt, sometimes things don't go our way. Sometimes the shows we love don't follow the plot lines we want, or do something that makes us mad, or do something that hurts us. And it's okay to say, this isn't for me anymore. Even if you've spent years in love with this thing, even if you made an online reputation about being in love with this thing, it's okay to step away. It's okay to mourn it. It's okay to be sad that it scorned you in this way. That's completely valid, but it's not okay to attack a real person over it. Asterisk, this does not mean don't call out people when they are doing genuinely hurtful things, when they say things or endorse tropes that are actually hurting real people, that are racist or sexist or homophobic, etc. Just so we're clear. This is like, don't be a shitty person when things don't go your way, not don't call out problematic behavior. Okay, cool. I'ma go now. So I know this is kind of a weird, complicated topic, and like, I don't want to step on people's toes. I don't want to make people mad. I don't want to make people think that like I'm discounting or not placing value in the emotions and feelings they have connected to a show, because like I've said 50 times in this video, those are 100% valid. I completely empathize. I have 100% had that experience. I have been through a lot of fandoms in my life, and I have had fandoms that have ended on a high note, that have given me everything I've ever dreamed of. I've had fandoms that tore my heart to shreds and completely dashed any hopes of my ship being canon or the characters I love getting the respect they deserve. Weird cough. It is what it is. You can't control the creators. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Just, you know, be kind, because this is a topic that I know people get really emotionally invested in, which is the reason that I've been so careful to constantly be validating people's feelings in this video. I know it can come off as sounding very like coddling, but I know that this is a really sensitive subject for a lot of people, and I don't want to invalidate that. So I would love to continue this conversation in the comments. It's a complicated topic, and I know I probably forgot about a lot of factors. I know that there are probably a lot of nuances that I didn't take into account, a lot of special circumstances. Obviously, there's a special circumstance in every single situation. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye!